Breathing is super easy. I teach that to college students because you're just counting and you can sort of picture it. So you're inhaling for the count of four, you're holding the breath for the count of four, you're exhaling for the count of four, and you're holding it for the count of four. And you're just doing it over and over again. And I tend to move the box or I forget where I'm at. And so you can do something along those lines. And also, when you think about the purpose of that, it was created by the Navy SEALs so that they could regulate their nervous systems when they were in high stress situations or needed to sleep quickly. So don't count sheep, breathe.
What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Vivatude podcast. I'm Tracy Cromwell. I am your host for everything to do with physical and environmental wellness. I'm very excited today. I have an incredible guest with me, Dr. Tanya Berfield, and she is coming from very cold Pennsylvania, I understand.
That is right.
Yes, but I'm here in warm tropical, it seems, well, not quite tropical, but sunny Seattle.
In comparison.
Yes, insane, very much so. So I'm really excited to have Dr. Tanya with us. Dr. Bearfield is a speaker, an author, and podcast host who helps ambitious women heal burnout, anxiety, and emotional overload through I love this, science meets soul approach. She blends nervous system regulation, emotional intelligence, and practical mindset tools with a little hippie woo, which I can't wait to hear about that, to help people stop performing and start healing. She's the host of Mindset Medicine with Dr. Tanya Bearfield and author of Radical Resilience. Welcome, Tanya.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited about the conversation.
Me too. Me too. So
Yeah.
as we talk before we start recording, our podcast is leaning towards carers. And of
Hmm.
course, that will integrate to those they care for and also to their family and friends. And
Hmm.
so we'll talk a bit about that coming up. But just tell us about you and how you got started with this.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So, as you said, my name is Tanya Berfield. This is what I figured out. I've been married for almost 30 years, and in just a couple of weeks, it'll be 30 years. We are mostly happy. I mean, it has been, we figured it out. We work hard on our relationship. It's not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But in those 30 years, we did all of the things that we were supposed to be doing, right? We bought the house, we got the educations, we had the good jobs, we had the three boys, we had the two dogs, the three cats, all of the things, the white picket fence. And while I was happy with everything that I had and everything that I was doing, I still always felt this sense of like a lack of fulfillment or a lack of purpose, or like I was supposed to be doing something and not figuring out what that was. And that translated to me just always feeling like I wasn't doing enough, I wasn't being enough. And so I, did a lot of things and sort of two tracks along the lines of raising this family and having this marriage. I also went off on two tracks. So I've got an associate's degree, I've got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, I've got a doctorate degree, all of them in some level of leadership. And the doctorate is in transformative leadership. And at the same time, I was going down this other path of why am I not happy? What is happening that I don't feel like I deserve what I do have? And why do I feel like I'm not accomplishing the things that I feel like I should be accomplishing? And so that that led me to so many credentials because I don't just go do the thing. I have to learn the thing and then get certified in the thing because that's who I am. It's a little bit ridiculous. So now I can probably line an entire room with just my certificates. Like I could wallpaper the walls. And so I learned things like Qigong and hypnotherapy and Reiki, you name it. I've done all of it. I taught Zumba for a period of time. I had a women's fitness center, but what I realized, and I can talk about, I have a professional job beyond what I do here, and that is really hard work. So I work for college in advocacy in Title IX, which is everything harassment, discrimination, and sexual misconduct. So really heavy work. But what I have figured out is I'm here to help people. And so it has taken all of those things coming together for me to figure out my path is just to help people figure out what it is that they're missing in their lives and probably healing something that needed to be healed so that they can show up a little bit better, because we know that when we take care of ourselves, then we do everything else so much better. And I can't wait to dig in a little bit because you said about being cares. I normally talk to female leaders, like that's, people that are trying to lead, whether it's just life or in the workplace. But I also have this really interesting dynamic with adult children and them taking care of themselves, but then also a grandmother who is requiring some care that is taking a toll on me at the moment. So it'll be really interesting, I think, to be able to continue our conversation that way.
Absolutely. And I really relate to you with what you said. You had to get the next certificate, the next thing to
Mm,
feel worthy. And I'm very similar to you.
excellent.
Not, and
Mhm,
I have all sorts of different things always going on. And through those processes and that aspect of going so how do I want to phrase this? Pushing and pushing, and as you wrote it, performing
yes,
in your disc,
always.
yeah. Always perform, always on,
Mhm,
and so being able to, I can't wait to talk about too the nervous system regulation and the emotional
mhm,
intelligence. I can't wait to delve into some of that. So,
mhm.
what I'd
Yeah.
like to do, let's go ahead. You said you had a story about a caring situation.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to share that. And I think it all came to culmination this weekend. So it's freezing cold here. We were -20 at some points over the last week, which is really cold even for us. My grandmother just turned 90 last month, and she's starting into dementia, but is insisting that she's still independent. She's on her own. My mom, there are five siblings. My mom, though, is away for a couple of months for her own winter break. This is what she's retired, and this is what she does. And my gram has decided that I'm in charge. And so I work a lot. It's not a little, it's a lot. And so for me to be in charge is a challenge. There are other siblings that are stepping up, but it's just kind of funny to listen to the way she talks about this. And then you add to it three adults. The youngest is 20. He lives on his own, and but by himself. So he doesn't have a partner. He's by himself with some roommates. And he got very sick. And so he got pneumonia. And so I was like, come home, we'll take care of you. I feel bad that you're by yourself. So just come up and it'll be fine. So he's here for the weekend. Things are going down with my Gram, who, when we move into dementia, often we think flip-flop. We go from one personality to another. She was
Mhm.
never warm and fuzzy to start with. So I was kind of thinking, oh, this will be nice. This will get us something different. Nope. She's doubled down. And so she's not very nice. A lot, not always, but there are times. And so we were struggling over the weekend with her taking her medications, and she's diabetic, and her sugar, the day that one day when I went to check, it wasn't even registering. It just says high. And so that means she's confused and she can't see. And there's just all of this stuff happening. And I, of all people, cried because I hit my limit. Like I hit my capacity. I did not take my own advice. I did not do the things that I would walk everybody else through in that very moment. I did eventually, but there was a moment that I couldn't take it. And so I said to my husband, we also have an anniversary coming up. And so I said, you know what? It's cold. I'm miserable. We got to go. Where are we going? When are we going? And so before the end of the day, we had a long weekend booked. So we leave in 3 weeks to go to Pompano Beach for a couple of days because we deserve it. And so that means I had to rally the troops for everybody around Graham, and there's some planning and organization. But
Mhm.
man, being a caregiver just means that you have to work at a completely different level, right? Especially if you're in this sandwich generation, which I'm actually not. My mom is very much out and about, but I call them the sisters. My aunt was I was 9, or my youngest aunt was 9 when I was born, and so my mom was very young, and so I feel like I'm one of their sisters almost versus their niece, and so I would consider myself part of that sandwich generation. And that, talk about dysregulation and stress
Yeah.
and what the toll that it takes on you personally, which means, like I was saying earlier, it takes a toll on everything else that you're doing, personal, professional, your family. It's all over the place. So it's just really fascinating to watch all of this come together.
Absolutely. And I so relate to you. I'm youngest of six. My eldest
Mm.
sister has passed away, but there's five of us. My mom's 95.
Oh yeah.
Literally
Yep.
has gone through the personalities, and sometimes you're just so nervous you don't know what you're stepping
Hmm.
into, and
Hmm.
find that aspect as a carer of centering.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes I think about if I breathe through my heart and
Yes.
everything here, it helps because, like you said, you couldn't believe that you cried, and I feel the same. I'm a health coach. I'm a personal trainer. I
Hmm.
work with meditation on with myself, but sometimes the system just has to cry, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
for
what
sure.
was
For sure.
yeah? So when you said you finally got around to doing what you teach others to do,
Mhm.
what was that? Like, let us know.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was so good. So, it doesn't have to be the big thing, right? Like I meditate on a daily basis. I'm on my
Mhm.
vibration plate every single day. There are things I do for myself consistently.
Yeah.
In that moment of stress, there were two things that happened. One is, and I can talk a little bit about energy around some of the stuff that I do, but I protect myself and I didn't that day. I did not do that walking in, and so I did not put that effort in, and so I feel like I was open a little bit.
So what does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yes. Okay. So
Again,
let's dig into it. And then
protecting.
I'll get to the second thing that I
Yeah,
did.
I just want to hone in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So energy. So this is the Reiki work, right? Like everything that we do is an energy, it's a frequency, it's a vibration. So that's who we are. What you are putting in, you've heard the corny sayings, right? Like my vibe attracts my tribe. It's, the frequency you put out is the frequency you get back. What, karma is what you put out. It's all of those things. But it's true. It comes from a place of reality. So when I am protecting myself, I am drawing on that energy, and depends on where you are spiritually. I'm not necessarily a church spiritual or religious. I should say it this way. I'm not a religious person. I'm very spiritual. And so
Mhm.
I believe in God. I believe in angels. I believe in all of those things. I'm just not practicing it the way some other people practice it. So
Yeah.
for me, it's about like I'm calling up. So I visualize myself calling up energy from the earth. I'm allowing that to come into my body, and then I'm allowing it to go out my crown, because I'll talk about the chakras all day long. I'm allowing that to go out of my crown chakra through the top of my head to meet the universe, and I'm pulling that back down. And I'm asking for protection, and I'm asking, typically it's Archangel Michael. He's the person that usually the angel that does this. And so it's, just wash my body with your protection, and then visualizing the blue light that typically is associated with Archangel Michael. And that is enough for me to know
Mhm.
that I'm okay and I am safe. And whether, depending on, again, what you believe in, whether you believe that that is something that is universal or spiritual that is happening, or it is just your own belief system, it's enough
Mhm.
for me to believe that I am safe. And then to also sort of bounce off the negativity that comes at you so that you don't have to absorb that and
Right.
fall into that. You get to just sort of, put up your little shield and bounce that away from you.
Yes, and
That's what
it's
I'm
sort of
doing.
that aspect of sometimes as a carer, you
Hmm.
probably had that moment too where you felt like you were all by yourself.
Yes.
You're all alone and there's no one else. And so bringing in your spirituality,
Hmm.
beliefs, again, it could be, any form of belief that you have,
Right.
that can help you feel like you're protected and you're safe. And I
Hmm.
love that aspect too, is getting the system to feel safe,
Hmm.
right? Your
Yeah.
system. Yeah. And so,
Absolutely.
uh,
And I think too, I want to, I want to get this point too. I do that for her too, right? My Graham,
exactly.
like, she's alone a lot and she watches TV. She loves her football. I don't know what's going to happen now that the Super Bowl is over. She calls it the Walmart channel instead of the
Trophy, huh?
Hallmark channel. She's watching the Olympics. So, she's got those things to look forward to.
Mhm.
But her husband passed away 20 years ago. The kids come and go, like they're all here, but she spent so much time alone. And I feel like there's also probably fear for her. And so, how do I help her
Yeah.
navigate some of that because she's not going to talk to me about it. We're not open to that conversation at all.
Mhm.
And the things that I try to do, like a couple of weeks ago, I said, Grandma, I really want to spend some time with you. What I was trying to say is, I want to spend time with you without you crabbing at me because you're mean. And so I want to figure out a way that I can enjoy spending this time and we can both enjoy it. And so I said, you used to love to read and you can't do that anymore because you can't see and you don't like the audiobooks. So how about if I read to you? I love to read. You love to read. Let's do this. And there were some choice words in there, and that was not the thing that we got to do. So we're not doing that. But I was trying to, my point is that I was trying to figure out how do I make her feel comfortable? And I do that when in my own practices too. So if I'm protecting myself, I'm also offering some of that to her so that she feels stable and safe and comfortable.
And I believe too, you know, when the carer feels centered with good energy, it's going to impact everyone around them. And so,
100%.
yeah, so if I go in to see my mom and I'm tense and I'm agitated and I'm
Hmm.
afraid, that energy is going to carry.
Hmm.
And so I love how you were saying that. I think it's very universal. So
Hmm.
what we can think is we are not alone in this. And it helps me to know that, just hearing your story, I feel
Hmm.
heard in my
Oh, I
own
love it.
aspect of because of
Yep.
what you're saying. And
Hmm.
so, any other carers out there or family of carers, I bet you're
Hmm.
feeling heard right now.
I love that. Think
Wow.
about this example. So, the college job that I have a facility dog. She's my dog. She's a little rescue that goes to work with me every day because some of the things that are shared with me in my space are really challenging conversations for students more often, but sometimes employees. They've been through something tragic or awful or egregious. And so when they're sharing that, or if there is something that I'm fighting for a student, I get agitated and I get worked up. Or if I start to like get stressed out and I get animated, my dog, her name is Poppy, will jump on my lap and then she'll start pawing at me. And then she'll start getting in my face. And I have to, it's so cool for me to know that because that means I have to change my reaction because that means I'm not impacting things the way that I should be impacting things. And I'm not going to get what I need because all I'm doing is being like, obnoxious and loud and pushy and rather than coming at it from the degree that I need to. And it's the same thing, right? Like people are responding to your energy. And so it's really fascinating.
And and what just came to mind too is we're all human and we have these emotions that'll come up. And so I was again thinking with you is that, oh, your dog helped you. The little, like it's like,
Right.
hey. So if anybody has a pet, kind of pay
Hmm.
attention and see what their reactions
Oh yeah.
around you.
They know, man. They know. She reads energy like nobody's
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
There are times that I'll just be walking through because we've got a center. And so I'll just walk through and she's always with me. She's right on my feet, right on my heels. She's not on a leash inside the building. She's just walking with me. But once in a while she'll peel off from me and it will take me by surprise. And then so I'll go over and say to the student, well, that's interesting. She doesn't usually do that. And they'll tell me, like they always do, they'll tell me she knows I needed her right now because, and then they'll say like, my dog just passed away, or I just failed an exam, or whatever it is. And she felt their stress. And so she'll just walk over and do a little greeting for them. So yeah, if you've got pets in the space, they read the energy. They know what's going on.
And if we don't, and even if we do or don't, one thing that's very helpful I found is that like I'll start the day and I'll say that I can be present and that I'm paying attention. So when I can catch myself.
Mm-hmm.
I start going into that tightness in my stomach or my chest hurts from anxiety, not
Mm-hmm.
breathing, that I can stop for a moment
Yeah.
and and adjust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I know we've gone down an amazing road here. So I know I was like, oh, this is so good. So let's go back to when that moment you were
Yep.
crying and you
Yep.
said you did two things, the moment of stress. There were two things that you
Yeah.
do.
Actually, the second one also pulls exactly on where you just left off in the last
Okay. Okay.
conversation too. I think I mentioned this earlier. There's something I do for myself every day, and that is I get on my vibration plate. And so I don't, if you're familiar, it's just a
Explain.
place.
Yeah. Tell
Yeah,
everybody what
it's
that is.
this little contraption. It sounds ridiculous, but you stand on it and it just vibrates you up and down like very quickly. And I didn't believe in it at first. I thought it was crazy, but I've used it at health spas. I've used it at chiropractor's office. And I loved it when other people were like, that's crazy. Because they also have this ridiculous sign on the wall that says, it's the equivalent of running 4 miles or,
Oh,
these silly things that it is not,
it's
right?
not.
But what it does do is it cleans out your lymphatic system and it stabilizes your nervous system. And so I do this every day. And this is all leading to my point, I promise. So I
No,
do
you're
this.
doing fine. Don't worry about it.
So I do this every day, and it's like 10 or 12 minutes. Mine has 5 programs on it. So I do one, Monday through Friday, and the weekends are just whatever.
Mhm.
And then while I'm on there, I do a little prayer. And so this is just me. It's whatever I need. I'm looking for clarity. I'm looking for whatever that is. So that all to say that whatever it is you're doing doesn't have to be an hour of quiet meditation. It's whatever works for you, and it needs to be consistent, and it can be small. And so in that moment, as I was driving home, I'm driving, and I've got about a 10-minute drive, so I've got a couple of minutes to pull myself together before I get home and have to see the rest of the family, which is they're supportive, so that's fine too. But all I had to do was breathe, like exactly what you were saying earlier. I had to recognize what was going on in my body. I had to be okay and give myself grace with what I was feeling because it's okay to feel that thing. We are emotional beings, and that's fine. And it means that I have to release any anger that I might have just gotten because of the rude things that she just said to me that were totally not reasonable and not true. And I know that she doesn't mean them. And so I just had to stop and breathe. And I had to tell myself that everything is fine. I'm fine. I am doing the best I can in this moment. And that is it. It was
Yep.
small, but it is consistent. That is what I do for myself, though. And that's where I was going with the vibration plate. It is these small, consistent things. It's not the big hour and a half meditation. It's not the spa day. It's not the shopping trip. Those things are amazing if you can throw them in. But that's not what's going to regulate your nervous system. It is those small, take 1 minute and just breathe.
I love that because it can, you can get very overwhelmed with all the things we think we should be doing.
Mm.
And which makes it even more stressful.
Right.
And then you're like, and then do it. Oh no. And then it just builds. And so I
Yeah.
love the idea, the idea of just that. Whenever I say the word just, sometimes that just can
Hmm.
be a heavy word too. So
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. It puts the pressure on, doesn't it?
yeah, so if I say, oh, we just have to breathe, well,
Yeah.
sometimes just breathing's very hard. And so,
Right. Sometimes I'm hyperventilating. And so taking that breath is not easy, but you can do it. And it's
yeah.
giving yourself the grace to do it the best you can.
So what type of
Mhm.
breathing,
Yeah.
if we think about system regulation, what type of breathing are you recommending somebody
Mhm.
does? Either,
Yeah, so
yeah.
we can overcomplicate this or we can make it super simple. There are so many. Box breathing is super easy. I teach that to college students because you're just counting and you can sort of picture it. So you're inhaling for the count of 4, you're holding the breath for the count of 4, you're exhaling for the count of 4, and you're holding it for the count of 4. And you're just doing it over and over again. And I tend to move the box or I forget where I'm at. And so you can do something along those lines. And also, when you think about the purpose of that, it was created by the Navy SEALs so that they could regulate their nervous systems when they were in high stress situations or needed to sleep quickly. So don't count sheeps, breathe. That is one. Coherent breathing is another of my favorites. And I have a timer on my phone that's a Tabata like workout trainer, the high intensity interval trainer, that I
Mhm.
have it set for breath work too. So it's 5 seconds in, it's 5 seconds out, straight in, straight out. And you do that for 1 minute or 2 minutes. And that's amazing. But
Okay.
in the moment, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to worry about any of that. All you have to do is, if you can, put one hand on your heart and one hand on your diaphragm right under your chest. And your inhale goes first into your diaphragm and then into your chest. And your inhale is shorter than your exhale. So you do a nice inhale. Let's do it together. Inhale. And then just exhale longer. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Just taking that moment. And I
Yeah.
love the aspect. It is interesting because I do feel the difference when if I put my hand on my heart, my hand on my belly,
Hmm.
it's almost like a hug, like
Right.
a
It's an
compassionate,
integration, right? You're
oh
integrating that
yeah,
into your body, which is so
yeah,
important because that's the somatic piece. That's where really we're pulling that into our bodies in a way that we hadn't been before.
yeah. And I definitely, it's fun. And the box breathing, yes,
Yep.
100% Navy SEAL. And
Yeah.
what I love about it is there's different levels. If anyone wants to
Yes.
do it, you can do shorter counts to
Mm-hmm.
that practice, getting up to larger moments when you can hold
Mm-hmm.
and release. Some days at first it's like all I can do to hold the breath at the top and then I get my system to come down and
Yes.
relax. And so sometimes I'll just do it for a count of maybe 5 rounds,
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
and I can do it with my eyes open, my eyes
Mhm.
closed.
Yeah. The other thing that's really interesting about the box count versus the others is that it does sort of incorporate that meditative state, which is why I think maybe it puts you to sleep because you are counting and you're focused on where you're at in the box. And so you don't have time to wander. You're not thinking, oh, stay in this space or giving yourself a hard time because your mind wandered off. You're just there naturally because that count is happening and you've engaged your mind that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I find too, let's just say I'm going to go, some of my clients can be so I work a lot with personal training clients and
Mhm.
online and health coaching clients. And if I could tell that they're a little bit distressed or something was crazy, we'll start with short box breathing just to
Mhm.
become present. So that's something
Mhm.
maybe we could do, which I will implement because I haven't used that before I go see my mom. I do
Mhm.
mentally work and I'll do my breathing, but I could see where in the car, if I did,
Mhm.
around a box breathing, I would,
Yeah.
and I got thinking this too as a carer, if you're with the person all the time, take moments to step away
Yep.
for short breathing, maybe.
You can do it in the restroom. You can do it in
Yeah.
the board meeting. You can do it anywhere.
Yes,
I
I
love
love,
to, yes,
yes.
I
Nobody
love to
knows
tell
you're doing
college
it.
students, like, this is free. You can do it anywhere.
No one has to know,
Yeah,
all
they
the
definitely
time. You're
don't.
just doing your thing.
Yep.
I
The
absolutely
other
love
thing too, I think that in terms of nervous system regulation in those moments that could work for the caregiver and the person that you're caring for is music. You
it.
can use music for anything. You can use it to stay low, you can use it to go high, you can use it to regulate. And so find the songs. There are a handful that I go to when I'm in those moments or when I'm working on just my own. I need to sort of regulate myself that those are the things they change the game. You don't have to know the words, you don't have to sing along, you just have to feel the vibe, and it will cause you to go wherever it is you want to go.
And I love that too because I feel like music is energy. It's
Hmm.
and if you're at a concert,
Yes.
you feel
Yep.
it, right? And so it is energy. Where do you find I love going on like say YouTube sometimes
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
just on my music app and stuff, but do you have a favorite place to find your Zen
Hmm.
music? Where
Sort of. So YouTube is fantastic. And depending on what I'm doing, just megahertz, if you just look up megahertz music, the sound of that is so beautiful and just so even keel that it's really nice. And then I use Amazon Music. And so I've got a playlist. I'm pulling it up here because I've got two songs that are just my absolute favorite. And even the list is called Positive Vibes or
Okay.
Positive Vibes. So that's
Positive
what I
vibe.
call it. There's one song by Ajit called Haseya, Haseya, and it's sort of a women's empowerment, but also just absolutely gorgeous song. Another one is Alexa Sunshine Rose. I release control. Oh, that one's gorgeous. And then at my age, I'm surprised I just figured this out not very long ago, but I didn't know that Tina Turner went down this route at one point of like sort of Buddhist beliefs and these songs that she was doing. Oh my gosh, there's one
I'm
in
this old
particular.
knowing that right now.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. And when I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. yes, I can't find the name of her song now. Oh, Love Within is there's one
Love
specific
Within.
song, Love Within, that she does with some other women along these lines that, oh, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it changes, like it just shifts me instantly because I've listened to it enough times and I've, done the dance and done the breathing and, done the sage and the whole bit.
Well, yeah, or even just I notice we when we have an emotion, it can get attached to a
Mm-hmm.
song, right? So you'll have a song that you heard
Mm-hmm.
for a very happy time in your life, a very sad time, or whatever, and it will, instantly put you into
Mm-hmm.
that phase.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love the
Yeah.
concept of bringing in the music to help, and I'll just turn stuff on here depending on what kind of mood I would like.
Mm-hmm.
I find
Mm-hmm.
that if I want to be happy and dancing around, next thing, yep, I pick the music, and I can't help it
Yeah.
not,
It's the way you do with it.
yeah, if
Yeah.
I want a nice zen for thinking or for sleeping. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I love that idea that you brought up the music
Hmm.
because
Even because think about the ways we use music in our life, right? We've got
yep,
birthday songs, and I
yep.
think too, this one always resonates for me. So my dad, we danced to the song "Unforgettable" at my wedding. Well, we don't hear that song, and we did it with the Nat King Cole and the Natalie King Cole version with the two of them
Oh,
together, and so we can't hear that song and not dance. We could be in the middle of like my living room, and if the song comes on, we're going to stop and dance around we don't care what anybody else is thinking about it. So that's just because he always loved music too. And so it brings people together in such a positive way if you want it to and if you allow it.
yeah, absolutely. I love it. So let's talk next about
Mm.
emotional intelligence.
Mm.
Fill me in on what that
Yeah.
means and
Yeah. So when I talk about because I when I started doing some of this work, I was like, oh, I have to talk about self-care. And so what I realized is we all know we should be performing self-care, but nobody was doing it. At least not the women that I know, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else that we're not caring for ourselves. And so then what I realized is we really need to be thinking about this from the standpoint of emotional intelligence and what we do to take care of ourselves. And so knowing that how the world impacts us, because that is what emotional intelligence is, right? Is knowing how the world impacts me and how I impact the world. That is your emotional intelligence. So I like when I talk with people about this, I'm never the smartest person in the room, and I'm okay with that. But you know what I am? I'm really emotionally intelligent. I can read you like a book. I know when I've offended you. I know when I've made you happy. I know when you're responding to me, which has made me a really good leader because I can motivate you to do the things without forcing you to do it. I can make you understand like what is the big picture of this so that then we can get to the next phase and I can then cultivate the next leaders. Where I struggle with this is with a woman in dementia who doesn't have logic because
it is
she's not buying my
hard.
crap.
You have to step back, yes, and
Yeah.
remembering
And
those
so
things.
that has been really interesting, but I mean I can get her to see it in the moment, but she's not going to remember the logic behind that when I walk away, and so that's fine. But my point of that is if you can understand how you are impacting people, then great. So you can motivate them, you can get them to work with you, you can enable them, all of those things. You can get them to rise up. But if you understand, I think this is even more important, if you understand how they are impacting you, then you get to figure out how you react to that situation. So you know what triggers you, you know what motivates you, you know what empowers you, you know what's going to sort of light you up, what's going to get you. So when if you're working and doing all of those things and your energy is dragging, something's not lighting you up, something's not working there. So you have
Mhm.
to figure out what's going to fill that back up so that you then are taking care of yourself so that you are engaged the way that you want to be. So that's sort of my 50 cent high level version of why
Yes.
emotional intelligence is so important.
Well, and again, it comes back, as we're talking, I think a lot about us being present with ourselves and recognizing
Hmm.
those triggers, right? So,
Hmm.
you can make a plan on what your response will be and how do you want to show up, right?
Right. Right.
And I've heard this before, like sometimes these emotions, maybe they come really quick, or maybe, and correct me,
Hmm.
I heard, can be like the physical response may only really be 60 seconds to 90 seconds, and the rest is a choice. Have you?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah. And I think too, there's something to be said. This is where the science comes into play. So
yeah.
neuroplasticity, this is where we've learned this behavior. This is where
Hmm.
we're comfortable because we know what happens next. So
Hmm.
if you have, maybe from historically, you've got some sort of story or narrative that was either you created or was created for you. So if you react to this way, if your husband says something crappy to you and your response is to just swing back at him, you know what comes after that. But if you don't swing back and you step back and you say, okay, I hear you. How are we going to do this a little bit better? Then you get to change how you move through that the next time and the next time and the next time. It's not easy. You're like, if it was easy, it would just happen naturally, but you have to be aware of it so that you can continue to change what is that story so that you can get to that point of having a reaction in the way that you want it to have. It sort of comes back to the mindset piece where when you're
Yeah.
having negative thoughts, you have to change it to a thought that's not negative necessarily. And it doesn't have to be the, oh my gosh, this is flowers and rainbows and butterflies positive, but it needs to be at least neutral. And then maybe once you get to neutral, you get to a little bit more positive. And you do that again with grace and knowing that you're doing the best that you can so that you
Mhm.
can continue to work towards that mindset and that shift that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And I think I like that you touched on it's not by meaning to be. I think we can hear certain things that make us think we always have to be positive.
Yeah.
If we're not positive, then there's something wrong
Yeah,
with
you're doing
us.
something wrong.
It's not reality, right? It's just
No.
not.
Mm-mm.
And
No.
so, yeah,
And if you are trying to do that, you're not being authentic to yourself, which means you
right.
are not going to be in alignment, which means you are not going to be happy and you're never going to achieve the thing, which means you're not going to achieve that level of perfection that you were looking for. So we don't even need to. I'm always talking about ease and grace and what we do.
Hmm.
And just again, recognizing that I'm doing the best that I can in this moment and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And and the aspect again, you brought it up to help people stop performing. And I feel
Mhm.
like in that context of needing to be always positive or perfectionist.
Perfectionists.
Yes, and I can't. I'd have to make up a whole new word that doesn't
Oh,
exist.
let's do that. I love
That's it.
that.
But yes, and I find too, being a carer is that you can always, even though you're maybe not physically with that person, you're mentally attached.
Hmm.
And so I always seem to have this tug, you know,
Hmm.
am I doing well enough? Should I have been better? How can I make her life better?
It
But
sounds a little bit like guilt.
big time. Because
Yeah.
I just, I feel
Mhm.
helpless a lot of the time. And
Hmm.
so, what are
Yeah.
thoughts of that for somebody that's,
Oh, that's so hard. And I think you have to, oh, here's where we're going to go with it. It took me a second. Here's what I would say is we have to sometimes practice talking to ourselves as if we are not ourselves.
Mhm.
So if Tracy is having this conversation with Tracy, she's going to respond one way, right? Like this is what I believe. I'm not doing enough. I should have done different. I should have done more. I could have done this. Maybe I should have left this thing early and made this thing happen or made this phone call. Like you can keep going and spinning and
Oh,
spinning and spinning, right?
yes.
But if Tracy is talking to her friend who's sharing her own feelings about that same thing, Tracy's going to say to her friend, listen, sis, you're doing great. You are doing great. You did the thing you should have done. You gave everything that you could have had. You did the best that you could in that moment. And sometimes when you are not there and you're not showing up, that's better for them too, because you were not where you should have been. That was not the time for you to be there. And also, there are other people. And in your case, at least, and in mine, there are other people. I don't have to carry this whole load. I do get to work with these other people, these other caregivers that get to carry some of that weight. And so we have to practice talking to ourselves as if we were the friend that we loved.
Hmm.
And think about it even from another lens. If you overheard another friend giving that friend a hard time or saying what they didn't do, you would be standing in front of that friend. You would physically move your body in front of that friend and say, "Nuh-uh, no way. Let's talk about what she's doing great." And we have to
Yeah.
do that for ourselves, which is so hard to do, right? Like we are not used to doing that for ourselves. We are used to saying what we're not doing right. This was in a performance evaluation that I had not all that long ago for my own work, was stop saying what you're not doing right and start telling everybody what you are doing well,
Mhm.
because that's all they're hearing is what you're not doing right. When you're not doing anything wrong, you're doing everything well. And so,
Yeah.
and I was doing it from like this place of softness to say, oh, like, look, I'm not perfect, therefore I don't expect you to be perfect. Bullcrap. I'm doing a damn good job, and so are you.
Great point.
But I
Yeah.
think we just have to be a little bit softer, and we have to think about it from that lens of, if this was somebody else talking to me, what would I say to them?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So I did want to talk, there's a couple more things before we're done. If we can discuss, this is great. I have sun coming in.
It's gorgeous. The
I
rays
was
are
like, oh my
gorgeous.
gosh. I'm like,
It's
sun,
very dark here because we're not in the
there's,
same time zone.
yeah, there's sun in Seattle, and I didn't think to close the blinds, but I'm going to
No, like,
acknowledge the
yeah,
beautiful sunshine.
absorb it.
Yes. So anyway, so let's talk about again. So I work a lot with with personal training, health coaching, and as carers, they are physically working a lot.
Mm,
Could you talk a little bit about the mind-body connection and how, what are your thoughts on how your thinking can impact the way your body feels,
hmm.
or good or bad or in the middle?
Oh,
So can
yeah.
we just bring up that a little
Yeah.
bit?
And even think about this. I'm going to take it one step further back to experiences too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Experiences live in your body. They are, if you went through some sort of trauma, it is living in your body until you figure out how to let that go and how to release that. And so words do the same thing. Feelings and emotions do the same thing. If you think about the weather, so when you think about how the weather impacts your body, like barometric pressure causes migraines for some people, or knees to hurt, or hips to feel squeaky, or backs to be sore, whatever that might look like, especially people who really physically used their body at a younger age, they feel that later. You'll hear the older person say, "Oh, we're gonna get a storm. I feel it coming," sort of thing. It's not different for your mind and your thoughts, that those things sort of implant themselves. And so when you are feeling negative, I feel it right behind my shoulder. I'll feel it run down the back of my neck into my shoulder. That's where I'll hold that into my abdomen. So I have my digestive system has been put through its paces in the last 50 years. And so when I'm having a really rough day, I will know that I'm not responding well because my stomach is a mess and it hurts really badly. Like I can feel it rumbling, it just really hurts. And so I know that I have to do something in that moment. And so usually when that's happening, that means that people have been sharing things with me and I didn't protect myself, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
with my Gram and she's coming at me and I didn't do the things that I should have done to take
Yeah.
care of me. And then so I have to stop and I have to do that. And I have to also forgive myself for not having done that in advance. But you also, back to your reaction. So this is physical, but it's mental, right? Your reactions, if you're feeling triggered, if you're feeling aggressive, if you're feeling reactive, that's often coming, based on what you're experiencing in the moment and how you're reacting to that. And so if you can stop and figure out what is that thing, so like the breath work or something that's grounding and stabilizing for you, you can change that so that your flow becomes a little bit different. You feel a little bit more centered.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And one thing I've noticed too, and this is fun, I like to add this. Sometimes when I first start with a client, that's a personal training client, sometimes
Hmm.
they'll go for a very lightweight.
Hmm.
They're very, very
Yes.
afraid. They don't know that they have
Yeah.
this capacity. So we go
Yeah.
ahead, find the
Hmm.
weight, and they think, oh, it's kind of heavy. And I said, okay. So I change their mindset a little bit and I'll say, okay, I want you to think I'm strong, I'm powerful, my muscles have the capacity to do
Hmm.
this. And
Yes.
well, I'll set them up where their form's a bit better. And then it's just like way too light. And
Yep.
so there's an aspect there too. So if someone is getting yourself centered, and then also say you are responsible for helping someone walk, or you're having to push the wheelchair, or you're having,
Hmm.
these things to do, that brain is giving a signal to your body. And so
Hmm.
I can think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so weak. And it's just even practicing, I'm weak and I have no,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm strong. All of a sudden it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I can do this, you know? So I do that a lot with my mom is like, you know, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I can handle this wheelchair. I can
Mhm.
get her in and out of the car. But
Yeah.
if I don't think like that,
Yeah. You feel
no,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, think about the opposite of that, right? So, yes, your mind helps you lift the heavy weight.
Hmm.
It will get you to the point of lifting the heavy weight. But what happens to your mind when you lift the heavy weight? My favorite, I am not a huge, like, I'm not, you're never going to see me run. Like, that's not going to happen. I love to
Uh-huh.
walk. I love to, I kind of, I'll ride bike. I don't love it. There's so many knee repairs from all the hard stuff the things I've done to my body. But
Hmm.
my favorite exercise ever is powerlifting. Give me a squat rack and a bar, and I am a happy girl. And we're going heavy. That is
Hmm.
so hard. And when you achieve something that you didn't expect to be able to achieve, when I tell college boys, like, at my heaviest, this is what I was deadlifting, they'll be like, what in the world? Yeah, I know. And I was doing that at 45 and 50. That wasn't like 20 years ago. They are so taken back by that. But that means to me that I am empowered. I have a
Yes.
strength that nobody can take away from me. So I think it works both ways. Like, so if you can do one and then the other and then bring that together, you are in
Mhm.
the sweet spot.
Absolutely. And all of a sudden it just changes your so much opens up then. It's like
Hmm.
a new neural pathway, like you say.
Yeah,
My
for
goodness,
sure.
you
And
know,
then
what is
too, as a caregiver, as a woman, as anybody that's doing hard things, having that internal power makes you more
Mhm.
comfortable. And when you are more comfortable, you get to set boundaries in a way that you
Yeah,
never get to set them. You get to communicate in a way that you were never comfortable doing. I was
yeah.
50 before I knew I could tell my mom no. I had no idea I could tell her no. She has
I
been
know.
bulldozing me her entire life. And finally I was like, yeah, and it wasn't a fight, like because we I'd always fought with her about it. And
Mhm.
now I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, we're not doing it that way. And the first time I did it, real super softly, but with my own power, she was like, what? Oh, okay. And now it's just, now it's natural. So, I mean, it brings to you this, like, empowered is the word I'm coming up with, but like, oh my gosh, that ability and that
Yeah,
strength is so it's just phenomenal. It's an amazing
yeah.
feeling.
It's all connected. Every bit
Mm.
of it is connected. Okay, so I know we talked about a couple of mindset tools already, but maybe we can go through them. We talked about breathing. We talked about resetting. Let's see here. But I was thinking of closing with some definite recaps of things
Mhm.
that people could do. It doesn't matter if you're a carer or not. I think this podcast can help anybody and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about like those small consistent things that we
Mhm.
were talking about, I'm going to say it again, and just because I love my vibration plate. That's been such a game changer for me, and something
Okay.
that I've never held so consistently long in my life. So because I've been doing it for a couple of years now, every single day. And when I go on vacation, I can't take it. I'm a mess. So there's that. Breathing is always fantastic. If you like meditation, then go for it. If not, that's okay. But it doesn't have to be the quiet 30, 60-minute meditation on
Mhm.
YouTube. You can find all kinds of people with all sorts of their different contents or topics and voices. So find the ones that you like. You can do that. I think movement is amazing. So walking
Mhm.
is, yeah, you're just going for a walk, right? But that's sometimes 5 minutes of that or 30 minutes of that, depending on what you've got. That will change everything as well because there's a grounding that happens there when you've got both feet on the ground, but you're moving at the same time.
Mhm.
Oh, and then I would also say I don't do yoga for the sake of doing yoga necessarily. I love it. But if you could do some sort of stretching and breathing, and this again can just be 5 minutes a day where you find a couple of poses or a couple of movements that go along with breath. So for me, it's usually more along the lines of qigong versus yoga,
Mhm.
but it's what you
Mhm.
want it to be. So if you're doing qigong, you're doing a movement and incorporating the breath with it. So you might just move your body a little bit, but it doesn't have to be hard or long. It's just really small, consistent things that you are doing to take care of you. Journaling, some people really love journaling. I tend to use it when I need it, not consistently every day. It's just not a thing I love doing every day. But when I know that I'm resisting something or I'm stuck in some loop that I can't get out of,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I do is I go for a walk, I breathe, and then I journal. And then I call it Rage on the Page. That actually came from a spiritual coach, Gabby Bernstein. So that's what she calls it, Rage on the Page. And that is like, ask yourself the question and then don't think about what you're writing. Just let it come out and you will figure it out. It'll happen if you let it flow out.
I love
So I
it.
think those are all things that you need to do to be like, those are things you could be doing in order to
Right.
find that sense of stability or grounding that you're looking for.
Perfect. And you have a book, Radical Resilience. Tell
I
me about the
do have a
book.
book. So it is because I think that what I have found, because I was coaching women and I don't do a ton of that anymore. Now I'm more focused on speaking in the podcast.
Hmm.
But what I was finding is that women, we're stuck in this place because we've got something that we've not addressed. So again, maybe it's that story that somebody else created for us or what we believed was created for us when that was never actually your story. And
Hmm.
then we're living in this place of anxiety and burnout and trying and trying and trying and trying and never getting to the things that we want to get to. And
Hmm.
so I call it the mindset medicine method. And so what we're doing throughout this book is we are healing ourselves and we're doing that with this mindset medicine method. So we are acknowledging whatever it is that we went through or we experienced or even just think that might have happened to us. So we're acknowledging it, we're surrendering to it, we're rewiring it. And so this is where that thought process changes. We just work through some of that. And then we're manifesting change and manifesting not necessarily in the hippie woo, like putting out to the universe and waiting to see what happens. I'm going to take aligned action to make that thing happen, but you have to decide what that is. And then you have to start the steps for it. You might not understand why or how, but you have to start taking some actions towards it.
I love it.
Yeah.
How do we get your book?
You can go to so it's on Amazon, Radical Resilience,
Okay, great.
or you can go to my website, www.drtanyab.com, and
Okay.
there you can find it. And I also have, so I have a sort of bundle that's the book, the workbook that you can use to work through the book, and then there's an audio journey, so some short meditations and a longer hypno meditation that go along with it.
Oh, I love that there's
Yeah,
the different options for that. And I was going
yeah.
to suggest too, just back to meditations. I found some right on Audible.
Oh, right.
There's
Yeah.
everywhere, so you can try them, and YouTube
There's
has them everywhere.
Yeah,
So just
everybody's got
yeah,
an app these days. So Gabby Bernstein has an app. Calm is amazing. The nighttime, like
right.
there's so many. You find
Yeah,
the one that works for you. Nobody's
yeah,
going to give you a hard time. I
yeah.
have some out on YouTube as well, so you're welcome to go find those out on my
I'd
channel.
love to find that. So great. So you have a YouTube channel as
I
well.
do. Yep.
So we'll be putting everyone who's listening, we'll be putting information down below in the
Perfect.
description. Dr. Tanya. And I could talk to you for another 2 hours, I
I
think.
agree.
It's a wonderful time. I really feel I'm just so blessed that you were able to make it on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you for having me. I really
yes,
appreciate it.
absolutely. And all right, everybody, we'll sign off now. And I just might call Dr. Tanya back here
I
sometime
love it.
soon because I just feel like there's lots of great tidbits we can learn from you.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everyone, we'll see you later.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, 1 each week. We help you revivitude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.